So when it comes to mid-size SUVs, I feel like in the Philippines, you have teams like Team Fortuner, Team Montero, Team MUX, and for our family, we belong to the Team Everest. Now in this video, I'm gonna give you the pros and cons of this Ford Everest Titanium 4x2 and why it's almost the perfect 7-seater mid-size SUV. So make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, and let's start with the video.
I came from the mud, there's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree, there's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon.
Getting out the tech specs for a second here, this Ford Everest is bigger, better equipped, handles better than the previous generation. This 4x2 Titanium Plus model is a 7-seater, rear-wheel drive, 6-speed automatic mid-size SUV. The engine is 2-liter, has 4 cylinders and produces 168 horsepower and 405 Nm of torque and runs on diesel.
Okay guys, let me run you through a few things that I love best about this Ford Everest 4x2 Titanium. Number one is when you go into the car, even if it's really high, holding on to this handle here is extremely easy. Yung materials dito, unlike the Chinese cars that I've driven, like the Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro, dun sa Coolray, this has more of a sturdy, very single color black theme lang siya. So it's not the most elegant of designs, but it feels very sturdy and it feels na tatagal talaga siya. Kasi nga, uh, hindi siya maarte, basically. Hindi siya maarte. Wala siyang arte. Pangmatagalan talaga siya. Pangmatagalan siya. Kaya walang arte-arte dito. Which is a good thing naman for this particular car. I think one of my favorites talaga of driving this car, no, is despite its huge size, it's actually extremely easy to drive. And I remember when I was talking with Ford agent is there's a lot of females or women who actually drive this car, and for the reason because despite na na siguro kapag girl you're not ni kasanay sa mga mas gusto mo medyo petit na sasakyan, pero dito kasi ang gaan ng steering wheel niya. And another thing is when you park, yung turning radius niya or basically the way it can maneuver in such tight spaces is, I don't know, I haven't experienced that with the other cars eh. This just, even with the previous generation, that is one of the highlights that I really liked. Kahit ang laki-laki niya, it's actually very, very easy to squeeze into tight spaces. Yun, kapag ipapark mo, super, super easy. And then next would be, may mga bago siyang cool new options here from the previous generation. Things like, for example, yung cup holder dito, you just press this, and cool, nandito yung cooler mo. Very similar to, some hatchbacks na at least malamig yung drink mo. There are a couple of weird stuff na, for example, itong, tsaka yung alarm niya, it's exactly the same as the previous generation. And I suppose for other Ford models then. Pero it's kind of weird that, when you go inside the car, parang hindi nagbago all through those years. So it's kind of weird. It was kind of weird at first. Okay. Okay, here's another thing with the Ford Everest, no. When the driving position, like I said, that's the highlight of this car here. And I guess it's the same with the Ford Ranger, is yung stance niya talaga. And yung height niya, and how you feel where you're driving this car. Kasi you really feel like the boss eh. Kasi it's a lot higher than, for example, the crossovers and other mid-size SUVs. So, there's a psychological effect from that, and for a lot of people, maybe it's worth the extra money. Okay, let's talk about practicality. Well, kita mo naman, laki-laki niya eh. So, I think it's very, very simple naman na, here's the comparison that I'm just gonna give. Comparing it to the previous generation of the Ford Everest, my kids, my nephews, and everybody is saying na this has a bit more legroom, and yeah, mas maluwag. So I'm just gonna keep it that simple. And I guess yung other cool features from the previous generation is ito, meron na siyang panoramic sunroof, which is good, which is a huge difference from the previous generation. And other cool stuff, well, itong 10-inch LCD screen niya, and it's awesome. It's extremely responsive. The integration of the Android Auto and Apple CarPlay on this one has been flawless. Surprisingly, Ford Sync is actually working almost all the time. It's not perfect, but it's very reliable as compared to the previous one, wherein I don't think I ever used it because it was really bad. Another is the fuel economy. I'm just gonna write down exactly the details here, but at the moment, so this car is being driven on the North Luzon almost every week, and this has already traveled about 7,000 kilometers, and it has averaged for about 11.7 liters per 100 kilometer. It's too bad though that the diesel prices are so high, but um, despite that, we're pretty happy with the mileage of this car. Okay, now I'm gonna move on to the not so good things about the Ford Everest. Um, the first thing would be the ride. It's a body on frame. It has a body on frame suspension, and it's perfectly fine. It's great when the roads are smooth. But for example, you suddenly hit sabihin na natin medyo matagtag na, madaming like a pothole. That's when it starts to feel like a pickup na. And it's not as refined as, for example, the other Chinese cars like the Cherry Tiggo 8, where it can dampen the rope imperfections on the road way better than this Ford Everest. And another thing is, well, the features. My number one complaint would be, for this price, for 2.2 million, this doesn't have a 360-degree camera. Even the cheaper, less expensive SUVs out there, the crossovers, they already have that. But for this car, come on, Ford. It's 2.2 million and you did not give even a 360-degree camera. And okay, it's on the 4x4 model. But the waiting period for the 4x4 model was 4 to 6 months. No one's gonna wait for 4 to 6 months for that long. And the queue is also so long that, well, I suppose it's not their fault for it to be so on demand. But yeah, it would have been perfect if it had that, the 360-degree camera. Guys, a lot of people have been asking, why did you buy the same car? But here's the thing, a lot of people buy iPhones every year. And the reason why, because, well, they're a fan. Just like us, we're a big fan of the Ford Everest for many reasons. Like I said, it's extremely easy to drive, it's fast, it's got tons of room, it's very practical, there's very little that's wrong with it. And just like when you buy an iPhone every year, is you're sort of okay that it's gonna look pretty much the same, it's gonna perform pretty much the same, and you're okay with that. You're totally okay for the small improvements that it has. But for this car, it's not just small, it's pretty big. Like for example, like I said, the big screen, the fuel economy, the handling, everything, the sunroof. So yeah, so there you have it, guys. I hope you like this video. Please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Many more cool things to happen on the channel. Thank you once again pa nga pala for the 1,000 subscribers that we hit just a few months ago. So yeah, this is Paul again for Test Drive PH. I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.